Hello everyone, today I am taking a new poem from our literature reader, New Broadway. This video covers the explanation of the poem Mending Wall. A brief introduction about this poem. Most living creatures including humans, animals, birds and insects have a fierce sense of territory and would go to any lengths to protect it. Bees and ants guard their hives and nests, animals guard their feeding or hunting areas, and humans build boundaries to enclose their properties and to keep out intruders. In this poem, the poet wonders if this possessiveness is really necessary. Fierce sense means extreme sense. Territory is called area of land. Guard means protect, and hives are the homes of honeybees. Feeding area are called land that gives you food. Enclose means close off on all the sides, and intruder means person who enters anywhere without the permission. And possessiveness is called demanding total attention. So the poem starts with one of the fact of life that most of all the humans, animals, birds and insects have an extreme desire of owning a land, and anyhow they protect it from all insects and from all their instinct to protect their residence. Animal guard their land that gives them food, and human build boundaries around their property so that no outsider can enter without permission. Robert Frost through this poem wants to show that there is really a necessity of demanding the attention. So the title of the poem Mending Wall is used in two senses here. First, to mend a broken wall by the poet Robert Frost and his neighbor, and the second purpose is to mend the relationship with his neighbor of the poet. This poem is written by the poet Mr. Robert Lee Frost, born on 26 March 1874 and died on 29 January 1963. He was an American poet. He is highly regarded for his realistic depiction of rural life. He employed setting from rural life in New England to examine complex social and philosophical themes. He was one of the most popular and critically respected American poets of the 20th century and was awarded 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. He was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic work. On July 22, 1961, Frost was named the Poet Laureate of Vermont. Mending Wall is the first poem in North of Boston, Frost's second book of poetry. This book was published when Frost was in England. So we can say that Frost was very much interested in writing or depicting the rural life, and he was comparing the complexity of the life between the rural and the urban area. He was very renowned and got so many achievements during his lifetime, and he was also renowned the position of Poet Laureate. Poet Laureate means the member of the royal household. As we can say na, here Raj Kavi in Hindi means that is the poet in the kingdom of the king, personal poet of the king. So same as the Poet Laureate means he was a member of royal household in England. Here the poem starts, something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. Swell means become larger in size. Spills is to fell over the edge. Boulders are the large smooth stones, and abreast is called side by side facing same way. So in the beginning of the poem, here the poet is talking about a wall that is situated in between of his and his neighbor's house, and he is telling that there is some power in the nature that doesn't like walls. Some power is nothing else but the nature itself here. So the poet is regarding the nature, and it is naming the nature as a power. So when the snow reaches under the wall, it makes it the underneath ground larger in size. And when the sun melts this snow, then some of the upper large stone round faced of the stones, they fell down from the wall. And when stones fell or disbalanced, it make gaps between the wall. that are big enough for two people to walk through side by side. So in first four lines, the poet did not name the power, but by giving the visible example, he wanted to name that invisible power as a nature. And he's talking about that big boulders that are round in the shape, and that wall is made up of those boulders, and when the snow comes, all the boulders, because of the weight of the snow, they fell down, and then they because of that, there it creates a gap in the wall, and that is a very big gap, means two men can easily pass from that gap. There is no definite rhyme scheme for this poem. Let's see the literary devices for this paragraph. First is personification. In line number 1 of this poem, something there is boulders in the sun. Here an unseen force in the nature has been personified, so that is described as a living thing. Next is anaphora, repetition of the word end in line number 3 and line number 4. Means these two lines are starting with the same word, that's why the literary device will be anaphora here. Some new words including the first paragraph you can see here. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair, where they have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. Yelping is called the barking or the barking sound of the dog. Poet is saying that when the hunters come for hunting, the small animals who hide behind the wall, then during the hunting process they damage the wall but do not bother about repairing of the wall. Means during the time of hunting process, all the boulders of the wall, they falls down, but hunters do not bother about keep the boulders back on the wall or repair the wall. Then the poet have to make the regular repairs. When during their hunting activities a stone falls and hunter do not put one stone on the other stone to repair the wall, this work the poet has to do after the departure of the hunters. Fine. So they cause a type of troubles while they are breaking the wall, and they are finding the hidden rabbits. Why? Because they have to make their barking and alarming dogs happy. So these lines describe the damage caused by the hunters, and that damage the poet have to repair later on. So damage of the wall troubles each and every one. Means the poet is also having trouble by repairing it again and again, and the small animals is also having the troubles because they cannot find the place to hide their body in the shade of their wall, damaged wall. This paragraph is having the literary device assonance, whereas repetition of the vowel sound A, E, O can be seen throughout the stanza. Some new words are to please is called to make happy, and yelping is called crying or barking. The gaps I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at a spring mending time we find them there. Even after telling so many reasons or gaps in the wall, the fact is that nobody knows, sees or hears about those gaps. Means all the causes that is described in this poem by the poet, that maybe the gaps has been done because of the hunting process by the hunters, or maybe the gaps has formed during the natural calamity, or maybe some powerful animals damage the wall. So here the cause is not definite that how the gaps has formed in the walls, but the poet is describing, and poet is giving so many examples or that cause the gaps in the wall. So those gaps, that how they are formed in the wall, but when the spring season comes, then during the time of repair they both find those gaps in the wall, and we here has come for the poet and he is introducing his neighbor. Both means the poet and his neighbor, they have to repair those gaps, means even not knowing the definite cause of how those gaps are formed, but this is the responsibility of poet and his neighbor to repair that wall, because that wall is situated between their homes. Literary devices for these three lines. First is assonance, where repetition of vowel sound A, E, O can be seen throughout the stanza. Next is alliteration, repetition of consonant sound T can be seen in line number 3, but at spring mending time we find them there. And next literary device is repetition, where the word them is repeated 2 times in line number 2. No one has seen them made or heard them made. New words is mending time is called repairing time. I'll let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go. Neighbor means a person who lives near you. In Hindi it is called padosi, and beyond is called to the further side, bahut dur. Now the poet let his neighbor know about the broken wall who lives at the further side of the hill, so that they both can repair the wall together. So one day they both meet walking on the dividing line and did mending or repairing of that wall. So once again that wall is repaired. Why it is written once again? Because they both do the mending of this wall every year once. So when we depart, we keep the wall between us as we want to let the wall remain at its place. We here describe for poet and his neighbor. Fine. Though these lines, through these lines, we came to know that either the wall was damaged naturally or by hunter, but the poet and his neighbor repaired that because they wanted to let that wall between their houses as a dividing line. This paragraph is having first literary device assonance. Repetition of vowel sound A, E, O and I can be seen throughout the stanza. Next is anaphora. The word end is repeated in the beginning of line number 2 and line number 3 and in making the literary device anaphora. Next is alliteration, repetition of consonant sound W can be seen in the beginning of the word in line number 4. We keep the wall between us as we go. And the last literary device for this paragraph is consonants. Repetition of consonant sound N and T can be seen in line number 3 and set the wall between us once again. Here I want to say the difference between alliteration and consonants, as both literary devices are cause for the repetition of consonant sound, but the difference is alliteration, the repeated consonant sound is coming in the beginning of the word, whereas consonants, the repeated consonant sound can become in beginning, in between or at the end of the word. Some new words for this paragraph. Neighbor is the person living nearby and beyond is called to the further side. To each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loaves and some so nearly balls, we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Boulders, I already told you, big round stones. A spell is called magic. So during the mending of wall, the poet and his neighbor noticed some big stones that have fallen to either side of the wall. Fine. They find that some of those big stones are of the same shape as loaves or bread that we eat in breakfast. Okay, here we are talking means the whole bread, the shape of the whole bread that we cut in the slices and eat in breakfast. Okay, so some of the boulders were same exactly the shape of the loaves, and some stones are round as balls. They think that to balance these round stones they need some magic. Actually the shape of those stones are rounded, so it was very difficult to balance a stone over another. It is not possible because they are not having any flat surface, right? So they failed to stick and were falling down again and again because they were round in shape. So getting irritated, they both told them to remain sticked. To told them means to told the stones that please remain sticked until they turn their back, or we can say when they go till then they should be sticked to each other, means as they are repairing the wall and as after repairing they are turning back to go their home, again the boulders found, again they keep the boulders on the wall, again they found, again they fell down. So that's why they were saying until we go back please stay or stick on the wall. And further they say that their fingers becomes rough and hard by handling those big stones over and over again. So here we can see that how difficult it was to mend the wall on a regular basis, and they both tried mentally and physically and exhausted by mending or repairing that wall again and again every year. These lines first are having assonance, repetition of vowel sound A, E, I, O, U throughout the stanza. Next is alliteration, repetition of consonant sound W in the beginning of each word of line number 5. We wear our fingers rough with handling them, where the consonant sound W is repeated in the beginning of each word of this line. Next is imagery and metaphor. This is the literary device where the poet is presenting an image or comparing the characteristic of one thing with the other thing. So here in line number 2, and some are loaves, some so nearly balls. Here the poet is making you understand the shape of the boulders or stones, and poet compares those boulders with the shape of loaves, the bread that we eat in our breakfast, and some are the small balls that are just resembling to the small balls. So here both the literary device will come in this line, imagery where the images of the loaves and balls are presented, and metaphor means the characteristics of the stone is comparing with the characteristics of loaves and balls. New words are spell is called magic, and loaves are whole bread. Just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pine, I tell him. Orchard means garden. Poet and his neighbor find the task just like another outdoor game, the task of keeping the boulders again and again over them. So they are finding it just another outdoor game where one player is on either side of the wall. Though their hands have become rough by handling the stone, even then they were enjoying this game more than any other outdoor games. So according to the poet, there is no need of the wall. His neighbor is having all pine trees on his side, and the poet is owning an apple garden at his own side. So the poet says to him that his apple trees will never go on the side of his neighbor and never eat his pine cones. Pine cones are a kind of fruit. Okay, here I am making you clear that what are pine cones. Pine cones are a kind of fruit which protects the seed of the pine inside it, and they are found on the pine trees. Okay, so in these lines, poet wants to say that whether the wall remains there or not, how can his apple trees go on the neighbor sides to eat the pine cones? It is not possible. So to make his orchard safe, if his neighbor wants to keep the wall, then it is of no sense. So the poet does not want that wall in between of his and his friend's home. See, first here two contrasting thing happens. First, the poet was saying that if there is a dividing line in the form of the wall between their houses, we have to repair. But then in this stanza, the poet is saying that there is no need of the wall. Why? Because all the trees, his apple trees and the neighbor's pine trees, they are on either side and they will never cross their side. So unnecessarily we are repairing the walls. So it is better that this wall is going to be removed from here, but that dividing line has made for so many years. That's why the poet is just imagining that how it will be happen, that he will be able to remove that wall from there. Assonance is the first literary device with the repeated vowel sound A, E, I, O, U throughout the stanza. Next is imagery. Images of the pine and apple orchard has been presented by the poet in line number 4. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. The poet is having the apple garden and his neighbor is owning the pine tree garden. So while we are going through this line, we would be able to make an image of apple garden and pine trees in our mind so that we can understand the poem with the interest. New word is orchard means garden. He only says good fancies make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Mischief means trouble caused by someone, and notion is called a belief on something. Fine. So the poet is making his neighbor understand that they don't need wall, but his neighbor only says that good fences make good neighbors. Means if there will be a limit in between of the neighbors' homes or a line in between home, then only they will be good to each other. So when the spring season arrives, the poet becomes a little mischievous in his trials to make his neighbor ready to think again on his decision of putting the gaps of the stones to mend the wall. And when the gaps are visible, then they have to do this repairing. Again, in his another attempt, the poet tries to convince his neighbor by putting a new belief at the place of his old tradition, according to which he believes on keeping a wall between neighbors. Means his neighbor wants to keep that walls between their homes now, but the poet wants him to make understand or make him convinced that we are not in the stage that there should be a wall. We don't need a wall. So the poet was accusing him a behavior of old customs. It means his neighbor was following the old custom and tradition of keeping the wall in between of the homes. So the poet was accusing him a believer of the old customs, whereas there is no reality in it. He proves his statement by saying that the walls are needed when there are cows who gets attracted by greenery grows on the wall that are needed to be kept away from neighbor's house. But there are no cow but only trees. So there is no need of keeping the wall between them. These lines are having two literary devices. First is assonance, repetition of vowel sound A, E, I, O throughout the stanza. Next is repetition. The word good is repeated more than one time in line number 1. He only says good fences make good neighbors. New words, fences is called boundary, mischief is trouble caused by someone, and notion is called belief. Before I built a wall, I would ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I would rather he said it for himself. Walling in means to enclose someone, and walling out is called to lose control. Offense means an illegal act, and elves is a creature or folk tales with the magical power, means somebody that is having magical power. In these lines, poet tells that he wants to know that what he is protecting and what he is keeping out of the wall, because he finds no sign of anything that needs to be kept in or out of the wall. He also wants to know whom he should blame for the illegal idea of keeping that wall at this place. He further says that he feels that there is some invisible magical creature or folk tales who could have been pulled down this wall. Means that creature is not liking this wall. The poet does not want to tell this thought of elves to his neighbor, as he is taking his belief very seriously, his belief was good fences make good neighbors. So the poet wants that his neighbor would come to know on the same conclusion as the poet was having of believing in the existence of elves by himself. Means the poet does not want to tell this thing to a neighbor. He wants that neighbor himself should realize about that there is no need of that wall. So these lines shows that the poet who previously was engaged in mending that wall, now he was questioning on the building up the wall, and he wants to know who built this wall and who did not want that wall at that place. These lines are just having the repetition of vowel sound A, E, I, O throughout the stanza and making the literary device assonance. Some new words. Walling in is called enclose. Walling out means to lose the control. Offense is an illegal act, and elves is a creature of folk tales with the magical power. I see him there bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. Grasped means firmly. hold firmly or hold tightly. Armed here means weapons or hathiyar. Savage is called uncivilized or unmannered person, or we can say wild or jungly. So the poet says that his neighbor works on rebuilding the wall. According to the poet, his neighbor is behaving just like an uncivilized person, or of old stone age, means of Paleolithic stage. Here we are talking about that stage when nothing was invented and everything from hunting to cooking was made up of stones. So the people of that age were also called Stone Age people, as they handled everything very roughly and were not open-minded. So same resemblance the poet is giving to his neighbor, who is holding the stone very strongly in his both hand and is putting one stone on the other to mend the wall again. He holds these rocks like weapons, and these rock like weapons are making up the wall. Means he is talking about the stones, the boulders, and the boulders he is comparing with the weapons. So we can see that previously the poet was helping the neighbor in building up the wall, but after realizing the inappropriateness of the wall, the same act of his neighbor seemed like the act of the savage or a wild person. The poet suggests that it seems as if his neighbor is having a kind of relationship with the darkness, but this darkness is not due to the shade of the trees and forest. Here the poet wants to say that the darkness of the tree is for giving comfort, that is giving you the shade, and serves the people, but the kind of darkness his neighbor is related with, that is causing discomfort and unpeaceful mind. Here the poet is talking about the darkness on believing on old customs, old tradition of keeping the wall between the neighbors. So according to the poet, his neighbor is still confined with the old traditions, darkness. Again, assonance is the literary device with the repetition of vowel sound A, E, I, O throughout the stanza. Some new words are savage means wild, armed is here used for weapons, and grasped firmly is called hold tightly. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. Now the poet is assured that his neighbor will not disagree with his father's saying, and he always likes to have this saying with him, and will say it again and again, that good fences are the reason for peace between the neighbors. So exactly it is told that this was the saying or teaching of his neighbor's father, that he had given him, that if there will be a dividing line between the neighbor's house, only then they both will be good to each other. So this poem makes us realize the importance of wall between neighbors and countries, as it avoids unwanted clashes and war, because we have lost patience today. So it's better to keep a boundary or wall or remit between the neighbors or countries. With these lines, we have come to the end of this poem. Wait for me till the next video comes. See you soon.